Good morning, dear students. Once again, welcome back to the English literature class. Today, we are continuing with the same poem, unit number 6. The title of the poem is Daffodils, written by William Wordsworth. Do you remember what we were discussing in the last class? In the last class, we were discussing about the different literary devices used in this poem, the different elements which used in this poem to beautify the meaning as well as its structure. So first of all, we were discussing about the themes used in the poem, and then we have seen the style implemented by the author to beautify the poem. And under style, we have seen the first style, that is lyric. Do you remember what is meant by lyric? Lyric means something in the form of a song. Then form and structure of the poem. There we have seen 4 stanzas are there. Each stanza contains 6 different lines, and each lines are independent, which means which conveys a complete sense. It is something like a complete sentence, etc. We have seen. Today we are continuing with the third point or third different style used in the poem, that is rhyme scheme, or in other words, rhyming scheme. As we have seen, it is a lyric. Since it is a lyric, it is having a musical eloquence, something like a song in nature. Okay, musical feature is there with this poem. Second one, the first line rhymes with the third. So as I have already told you, 6 different lines are there in a stanza, and the first line rhymes with the third. The second line rhymes with the fourth, and the fifth line rhymes with the sixth. So 1 to 3, 2 to 4, and 5 to 6. So this is what is the rhyming scheme of this poem. First line rhymes with the third, second line rhymes with the fourth, and fifth line rhymes with the sixth. Next one is imagery. So one of the main point which beautifies a poem is the different imagery used in the poem. Here, author has presented a natural scenery. So as I have already seen in the previous class, when we look into the nature, when we see a beautiful scenery, when we see a landscape of the nature, it creates a kind of feeling in our heart. So that's why here the poet has used, or he has presented a natural scenery through this poem. And what's the speciality of this natural scenery? It's not something very complicated, but a very simple image which creates a calm and peaceful state in our mind, a very joyful state in our mind. That's what's the speciality of this imagery. Then images of lakes, fields, trees, stars, clouds, etc. or so on has presented in this poem. And we will see what is the reason behind it. And he compared daffodils with Milky Way. In your science classes, you have already studied what is Milky Way and how it looks like. You have already seen its pictures, images, etc. And when we look at the image of the Milky Way, we feel like it's very beautiful. And actually, it is very beautiful too. Okay, so that's why the author has compared the daffodils, and we have already seen when we were discussing or when we were studying the introductory part of the chapter, I have already told you he found a belt of golden daffodils beside the lake. So that's why he compared these daffodils with Milky Way, oval in shape. You might have already seen the image of Milky Way. It's oval in shape. So same way here, the shape as well as the area which covered with the daffodils, once when he has seen it, he felt like it's something like a Milky Way filled with stars, etc. Okay, so that's why it impressed him a lot, and he used different colors to compare or to give life to the images like lake, fields, trees, stars, and clouds. See, white with cloud, then green with the hills, the next color that is blue with the lake, and silver with the stars, Of course, when we look at the sky, we can see cloud, and what's the color of that? Of course, it's white. And when we look at the hills, it's full of green. And when we look into the lake, blue is there. Then stars, of course, it's silver. So these kinds of colors he used, which compared with the images like lakes, trees, stars, clouds, etc. And these are the different poems related to the imagery which the author used in this poem to beautify it, to make a very important or a deep impact in the mind of the reader. Next one is alliteration. Close repetition of consonant sound. This is one of the technique used by the author to beautify it in the beginning onwards. Let's see one example. Example like high over vales and hills. Here you can see two words, high and hills, and both these words are beginning with the same consonant sound, that is H. Okay, high and hills. Or we can go for one another example like continuous as the stars that shine. Stars that shine. Once when you go through the textbook, you can see such number of lines in the poem where it starts with or a close repetition of consonant sounds you can see in the different lines of the poem. So stars that shine, S sound is repeated nearby. Okay, next one, sixth point is, or the sixth style used by the author, that is personification. Personification, of course, it's a figure of speech. It's a figure of speech in which either an inanimate object or an abstract concept is spoken. So here the author has spoken about the nature, the reality which he has experienced, but it is not having any life, inanimate object. Again, the abstract concept. When he compared this daffodils with the Milky Way, it is something like an abstract concept. Okay, I am floating in the sky like a lonely cloud, the author says. So something like an abstract concept is spoken. It endowed with the human feelings. What is meant by endowed? Endowed means it is furnished with. Okay, endowed means furnished. Okay, something furnished with the human feelings. What is that something? This abstract concept or inanimate object is furnished with the human feeling. Okay, that's what the particular technique he has used by personification. This way he has used this technique to beautify the poem. And the seventh point is simile. What's the speciality of simile? Here you can see one example. This is a line which was written by the author in this poem. That is, I wandered lonely as a cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud. See, what's the speciality here? Compared himself to a wandering cloud. Okay, when we look into the sky, we can see the clouds are floating in the air, in the atmosphere, which is moving from one place to the next, like we feel. Okay, so that's why he has compared. He compared himself. The author, William Wordsworth, he compared himself to a wandering cloud, to a moving cloud. The eighth point is metaphor. Metaphor. It's a figure of speech, of course, as we have already seen in the case of personification. Metaphor also is a figure of speech. It is used in this poem in different places. Comparison between two different things is implied. Comparison between two different things is implied but not clearly stated. See the example. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high vales and hills. I wandered lonely as a cloud. He's making a concept. And the second concept, what he says, that floats on high vales and hills. So, comparison between two different things is implied. It is used in this particular poem in different places, but not clearly stated. How this comparison is taking place? I wandered lonely as a cloud. What's the speciality of the cloud? It's always away from the landscape, away from the surface of the earth. So he speaks about the state which is there in the atmosphere, away from the landscape. Okay, so such a way he has stated, but it is not clear. So this is what the figure of speech he used. What is that figure of speech? Metaphor to beautify the poem. And ninth point is, or the ninth style used in this poem is onomatopoeia. What is the speciality of onomatopoeia? Of course, it's a figure of speech. Onomatopoeia is a figure of speech. The sounds of the words convey the sense. Let's see one example and then I'll explain it. Like fluttering. In the poem, you can see a line like fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Actually, what is this word, or for what purpose this word is used here? This actually, the meaning of the word flutter means, or fluttering means, to wave quickly uh, but irregularly. Means suppose, just imagine, you might have seen on 15th August at Delhi, the soldiers are marching, and how much unification you can see there in same timing, the timing of the soldiers, their movements. Okay, but here, according to the breeze, daffodils are moving, but irregularly, or it is moving uh, irregularly. Means there is no unification, there is no timing. Once when the one plant feels like moving, then it will move. Okay, fluttering means it is moving but no proper timing. Okay, so that's what. So once when we read this line itself, we will feel like, what was the line? Fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Fluttering and dancing. Of course, when we read it together with the dancing, we know that fluttering means it's shaking its head and it's moving, something like dancing according to the breeze. So that's what is meant by onomatopoeia. It's a figure of speech. The sounds of the words convey the sense. And the last point, or the last style used in this poem is hyperbole. It is an exaggeration of ideas. Okay, hyperbole means exaggeration of ideas for the sake of emphasize. Why this exaggeration is used? It is for the sake of emphasize. Like 10,000 saw I at a glance. In the poem, the poet told, I have seen 10,000 daffodils were standing together by the side of the lake, and it was dancing, it was fluttering, moving here and there, etc. etc. But do you think that he has witnessed or he has seen this 10,000 daffodils together? No, it is an exaggeration. He had seen a group of daffodils, but it's not something like 10,000 daffodils which covered a vast area of that place. No, it is an exaggeration. But why this exaggeration is used? This exaggeration is used for the sake of emphasize how beautiful it was, how much impact it created or made in the heart and mind of the author. And the author, when he makes such an emphasis to this particular idea, only the reader will get some of the feelings, the emotions, what the author experienced once when he has seen this daffodils. So dear students, these are the 10 different styles used by the author to beautify this poem. So dear students, here we are winding up today's class, and the next class we will be discussing about the different critical remarks about the poem. The critical remarks about the poem. So in the next class we will meet with a new topic, a new poem. Still then, I would like to sign off. Thank you.